How many promotions are being given right now to fix disengagement? How many leadership roles are being offered because someone is bored, restless, or thinking about leaving? And how many of those decisions are called development? A leadership opportunity is not a motivational tool. It is an expansion of responsibility. When you use it to repair morale, you distort both leadership and motivation. And this mistake feels supportive, but structurally it weakens the system. When promotion is used to fix disengagement, responsibility expands before the underlying problem is understood. The person carries more scope, more visibility, and more consequence, but the source of disengagement remains. And this creates a gap between the role demands and the internal alignment. That gap is what destabilizes performance. Let's look at what usually happens. A high performer starts to lose energy. They are still delivering results, but they question direction more often. They show impatience. They seem distracted. Recruiters begin calling. The executive team reacts quickly. We need to stretch her. He's ready for the next level. She needs a new challenge. We cannot lose him. So, promotion becomes the solution. But pause for a moment. What problem are you actually solving? In many cases, none of the real causes of disengagement are addressed. Instead, scope of the job increases, authority increases, visibility increases, and consequence multiplies. But the original issue remains untouched. Consider a senior technical director in a mid-sized company. He has deep expertise. He consistently delivers strong results. He is respected internally. Over time, he starts expressing boredom. He questions strategic decisions more openly. He hints that he has external opportunities. The CEO interprets this as ambition. To retain him, the company promotes him to a people leadership role. Now, he manages a team of 12. Within 12 months, complaints of micromanagement increase. Turnover inside this team rises. Decision-making slows down because everything must pass through this person. His stress becomes visible, performance declines, and the narrative becomes, he was not ready for leadership. But the earlier decision is rarely examined. Promotion was used to fix disengagement instead of diagnosing the disengagement. The intention was to retain performance, and the result was to weaken it. In most organizations, upward movement is considered the normal way of growing. If you are talented, you move up. If you stay where you are, people assume you are stagnating. Employees internalize this expectation. Companies reinforce it. Leadership roles usually carry higher status, higher compensation, more visibility, more recognition. Technical or expert tracks often do not carry the same social or financial value. So promotion becomes the only visible reward. This creates pressure to move into leadership roles. Not identity-driven demand, status-driven demand. So the system quietly equates growth with managing people. But growth can also mean deeper mastery, greater technical sophistication, more complexity inside the craft. When organizations fail to design equally valued alternatives, they unintentionally push high performers toward leadership, even when leadership may not fit. The logic behind promotion as motivation feels intuitive. Promotion signals recognition. Recognition increases status. Status increases perceived success. And success should increase motivation. But intrinsic motivation does not work that way. Research on self-determination theory shows that sustained motivation requires autonomy, competence, alignment, and meaningful responsibility. Leadership responsibility is not just more work. It is broader consequence. It requires managing interdependence, navigating relational tension, owning outcomes created by other people, operating under higher ambiguity. If someone's identity is primarily built around technical mastery, personal output, forcing width-based responsibility, it just creates strain. Instead of increasing motivation, it often creates overload, decision fatigue, and defensive control behaviors. We get anxiety disguised as high standards. The organization confuses ambition for status with readiness for systemic accountability. Motivation does not increase just because hierarchy increases. It increases when responsibility aligns with your identity and competence. Many organizations lack dual career ladders. They lack compensation parity between expert tracks and leadership tracks. They lack equal social recognition for non-managerial excellence. So leadership becomes the only visible path forward. Employees pursue leadership because it is the only upward option. Executives offer leadership because it is the only visible reward. Leadership opportunity becomes a retention tactic or a symbolic reward. But leadership is not a symbol. It is expanded structural exposure. When responsibility expands without readiness or desire, instability increases, micromanagement increases, tension inside teams increases. Second layer attrition increases. The issue is architectural. If someone is disengaged, diagnose disengagement directly. Ask, is autonomy constrained? Is role clarity weak? Has task significance eroded? Is meaningful feedback missing? Is workload misaligned? Repair those variables first. Then, if growth is the objective, expand responsibility gradually inside the current role. Increase ownership of cross-functional outcomes without changing the title. Expand the decision consequence before expanding headcount authority. Design mastery tracks that carry equal compensation and recognition. Test accountability tolerance in contained environments before full exposure. Motivation grows when responsibility is calibrated, not when hierarchy expands reactively. Leadership opportunity should follow demonstrated appetite for wider responsibility, not precede it. Leadership opportunity is not a morale lever. It is a structural risk decision. When used to repair disengagement, it creates fragile authority. When aligned with genuine responsibility expansion, it produces growth. This distinction may seem subtle. The consequences are not. Leadership is not a reward. It is personal exposure to consequence. And this is the shift. If this way of thinking is useful, the deeper analysis lives in the newsletter. That's where I examine leadership capacity at structural level. If you want the next breakdown, subscribe to the channel. And if this changes how you see motivation and leadership, share it with someone who leads. Rewire how you lead.